Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the morning show with RoD's very special guest today, Max Convexity, good friend of the channel for over 2 years, I'd say. But Max, I know a lot of people are very familiar with you in the Discord, on my channel, and overall. But just for those very few people who may not know you, do you want to give a brief introduction of who you are?
Yeah, my channel's name is The Covered Caller, and I started covering, I mainly cover high yield funds, but I'm also an option trader. And that's the main reason I started covering these funds is because just to try to give a take on it, to try to explain the inner workings of how the options work and how the strategies work. So basically, I've come to where I kind of specialize in the option strategies of these high yield funds. It's quite a specific niche, but somehow I've built a little channel doing that. And a lot of it's thanks to you and thanks to other creators. But yeah, you were the first creator that gave me a shout out, and that definitely helped my station.
So when you first heard, I went back to the archives. It looks like your first video was about 2 years ago about QQQY. Was it really, maybe I'll say those defiance funds, the 0 DTE, 1 DTE funds, once they came out, maybe you thought to yourself, well, I love this type of investing, this type of fund. I want to start a channel, or what made you start a channel?
Well, I saw you doing the videos, and you were covering the finance side really well. But I got in there to explain the option side, and then I tried to copy you, and I tried to do the spreadsheets and the estimates for a while. But I'm just not cut out to be an accountant. But yeah, no, it's just because I like to talk about options. I had been thinking. I made my name Max Convexity in 2020 when I got really into option trading. I was watching a lot of Mike Coe on option action, and then I was watching a lot of influencers, and I was on Twitter, and I always wanted to make an option trading social media of some type. But anyway, I just kept putting it out for years. But then when I saw you, in the community building up, and that I thought there was a need for people to understand how the actual strategies worked. So that's actually how I got my start. I used to hang out in your Discord, and I would see videos that you were too busy to make, and people would be talking about it. Then I'd go make that video. Luckily, you were gracious about it, or whatever. You didn't mind the competition. The competition is good for both of us. But yeah, I kind of got my start just meeting guys in your Discord and doing videos that maybe weren't your specialty or that you were too busy to make.
Yeah, and you brought, I'll say, actual experience and knowledge, right? A lot of people, the YouTubers, and then, like dabbled into options, but you have a long history of investing that dates back to, I think you said your father taught you. Do you want to give a brief history of like your
Well,
investing?
yeah, my dad and my grandfather were selling options on stock they already owned back in the late 70s and early 80s. And then when I got to be 14 and 15, my dad started teaching me about it. He showed me how to, in the paper, how to read them. And I remember he was the first one that explained to me that, you could either buy stock and sell a call, and that's a covered call, or if you wanted to, you could just sell a put. And I didn't make sense to me. I was like, what do you mean a put's bearish? If you sold a put and the market went down, you get killed. He said, no, you sell a put. Think about it. And I did the math, and it's the same risk. I mean, you could have a stock, sell a call. Your risk is the stock goes to zero. You're going to lose money on the covered call. And I thought about it that way. If you sell a put, the same strike as the call, nothing else, it's the same exact risk. But anyway, that really set a light bulb off in my head. And then when I was in college, I was really I was on CNBC all the time, and I saw that the 87 crash was coming. A lot of people did. I mean, the market looked toppy all summer, and I'd asked my dad if I could short my stock, and he wouldn't let me for a variety of reasons. I'm glad he didn't. But anyway, he let me start playing little options in his account. And my first actual option trade was buying calls on United Airlines. And my dad and I made like $5,000 together. And it was the greatest thing that ever happened. It was Trump. United Airlines was getting taken over, and some billionaires were putting in bids. And then Trump came in with the bid. And that made the stock blow up. He never did end up buying it out. But we cashed out, and I was hooked ever since then. But then I took like a 20-year hiatus. I did it professionally in the in the 90s. I became a broker and helped other people. And then I got out of the business in 1999 and kind of gave up on it 2000, sometime around there. And the bubble popped. The market was no good. And I didn't touch it until like 2017. And then I got back into it. So I took like a 17-year break.
Wow. But you started learning at 14 years old about options?
Yeah.
Did you have a brief investment knowledge up until that point? Like,
well, my not only investments, politics, also my grandfather was obsessed with conservative politics. I grew up to be a conservative. So he was always talking about the capital gains tax, and they need to cut the capital gains tax. And so not only options, but also just investing. You know, I'd ask my grandfather what stocks he was buying, and he had a broker. Back in the day, you had to have a broker, and he would take me to his broker's office, and it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen. Yeah, it was probably 11, 13. I'd go up there to his house for the summers, or for weekends in the summer, and I thought it was the greatest thing ever. And I was absolutely hooked. Then my grandfather actually he could tell how hooked I was. And my grandfather had a friend that was a day trader. I was like 18, and the guy had screens, the old kind of screens, and he had massive screens, and he would sit there and trade futures. And I was fascinated with that. So my grandfather took me to his house and let me watch him, and he told me all about trading futures. But yeah, I was hooked. I was hooked from a young age.
And you said you were a broker for 20 years or?
No, from like 93 to 2000, something like that.
So what did you do as a broker?
Well, I was just a retail broker. I was low man on the totem pole. My firm wouldn't even let me talk about options. I mean, they're like, no, you have to sell mutual funds. And here's something called the America funds, and we like this one. And they gave me a variety of ones, Franklin Templeton, I think, but then as I grew my business, I had a couple of guys that were option bros. One guy in particular. And what he would do is sell put spreads, bull put spreads on Dell computers whenever he thought it was low. He'd buy the dip by selling bull put spreads. I showed him how to do it. And I'd read all the books and everything. But anyway, this guy had some money, and he did really well.
Nice. So fast forward to, I guess, when you retired. When you retired, were you always doing options even then? Or did you kind of take a break when you found these funds, or do you a mix of both?
Well, I got real into trading again in 2017, and then really into trading around 2020. And I think in 2021 was the kind of my zenith. There was one month in the fall of 2021 when the market was still blowing up. I looked at my Tasty Trade account, and I had like 1,000 trades or something. I had a huge trade in Lululemon, a huge earnings trade that I just printed money. And then I was trading a lot. But then around 2022, when the market pulled back, I became kind of disillusioned or whatever, and I slowed down quite a bit. So nowadays I just mainly like the funds to do it for me. I think over trading can be a thing. I used to over trade. Nowadays, when I see something I like, I'll take a shot at it. The other day I bought put spreads on the Qs last Monday. They expired Friday, worthless, even though the Qs dropped because the Qs went up. And then they dropped, but they dropped from a higher level anyway. And then but on Tuesday the market went up, and so I sold more put spreads that expire today. But they're gonna expire worthless also. But yeah, I do like to dabble. I had some puts in April, and I did really well.
So are you, I guess, on all around what for options trading? I know that there's wheel strategy traders. There's people that just buy long calls, or maybe do poor man's covered calls, things like that. But do you kind of just not limit yourself? You do a mix of everything?
I like to, I like to, well, not really a mix of everything, but sometimes I'll sell spreads. I'll sell put spreads or butterflies. I'll sell put spreads or flies, or lots of times I'll just take a shot in the dark. I think some people are too in love with writing options. Writing options, I think, is the right thing to do. maybe 80% of the time. But there's certain times in the market when the market's moving, like it was in 2021, I switched over to buying options. There's sometimes you actually want to buy options, in my opinion, not financial advice.
Yeah. All right. So you talked about, I guess, the bull, the credit put spreads, and then the butterfly. Would you mind just explaining it briefly for the community who may not be familiar with options much?
Well, yeah. I mean, butterfly is kind of all right. A basic butterfly is where you can do it with calls or puts. It's kind of hard to describe. I'd have to show it. I don't do them that much anymore. But here's the concept of it. In an iron condor, you can sell put spreads and you can sell call spreads, and you want the market to stay in a range. Well, you can do the same thing instead of using 4 options, 2 puts, 2 calls. You can do the same thing with 3 options. You can do it with 3 calls. You have a call in the middle that you sell twice. Then you have a call on the wing that you buy, out of the money call. Then you have a call and in the money call that you buy. In the formation, looks like that. Your profit graph looks like a reverse valley of death. That's the valley of death. In a butterfly, you give yourself a reverse valley of death. Same trade. It's the same type strategy as an iron condor. You want the market to stay in a range. What I was doing a lot in 2021 was doing directional butterflies, where I would put the butterfly where I thought the market was going to land. I learned that trick from Tasty Trade. I mean, everyone knows that trick now. But anyway, so I was playing butterflies, but also using them for directional components. It is not the greatest trade ever. I remember one time I thought NVIDIA was going to go up in 2021, or forget the circumstances, and so I put a fly past the market where I thought it was going to go, and NVIDIA did go up. I woke up in the morning and I was like, NVIDIA's up 20 points or whatever. Well, it went all the way past my profit zone and to the other side, and I ended up losing money. And that's the drawbacks with those types of trades. But then lately, if I want to do something like that, I've just got to where I will buy calls or buy puts. I just take shots. Occasionally, I'll just take a shot on a direction. Yeah. But I haven't been doing very well. I mean, I did well in April when the market went down, but then I made a couple of trades since then, and then I've taken a couple of shots, and I'm back to where I started. But anyway, I'm not a great trader, but I love it.
Yeah,
I love to do it. So I think that makes a good case for these funds. They do it better.
It is fun, that's for sure. Mm-hmm. Now, once you started covering Defiance, YieldMax, you started getting to the mix of things, doing interviews, and then you got invited 2 years ago to the New York Stock Exchange. Have you been there before?
No.
No. Okay.
No, my grandfather had been, because he was he worked for Eli Lilly, so he'd been there a bunch and all, and so he used to always talk about it. But no, that was a great day. I couldn't believe I got invited to the NYSE. That was absolutely incredible. I really liked that. So no, I hadn't been. I hadn't been at all. So it was wonderful.
Yeah, it was a good experience. It was a pleasure meeting you. It's sad to hear that you couldn't go to the recent one.
I'll be there next year if I get invited again. I've been making some pretty spicy videos lately. But anyway, hopefully, but yes, with any luck, I'll try to make it next year.
Yeah, definitely. All right, so I guess let's get into the high yield ETFs. What are your thoughts about it lately? There's so much competition. There's new fund managers, it seems like, all the time. I know you recently interviewed, is it Tuttle? I think
yep.
Like that's
Matthew
a guy I
Tuttle.
never saw.
Yeah.
So there's so much competition. What are your thoughts on all this competition? Are you loving it? And do you think anyone stands out, amongst the mix outside of YieldMax?
Yeah, I really like Howard. I think Howard Chan, he's a different kind of cat, but I really like him. And of course I like the guys at YieldMax too, but really like Howard, and I really, really like Matthew Tuttle. There's others too, but those are the two right now that I really like. I bought one of Matthew's funds, BITK. I haven't done very well in it, but it's Bitcoin and the market's been going down. But yeah, I think Howard and I think those are the two guys that are really on top of it now. And I always I've had Howard on the station a couple of times.
Are you a fan of, I know a lot that's going on with Ulti, and they're adding, I believe, some blue chip stocks. Are you a fan of those recent changes?
Well, I mean, with me, it's just numbers. I mean, so they add blue chip stocks. It's going to make it should, in theory, make the fund stabilize a little bit, but it's going to take some of the yield off. So I did a calculation. Right now they have about a 15 to 20% allocation. I don't know why I think this, but I think they might go up to a quarter to a third. They're adding them every day. But anyway, I ran some numbers. Depending on where they end up on how many blue chips they allocate, what percentage of blue chips they allocate, they're going to be, I think the new yield will be between 60 and 66. Like I say, it's just numbers to me. You can just, you could use risky options. You can pay a large yield. You can pay a small yield. Pay a small yield. It's less risky. It's just the risk and reward equation. So this fund should probably become a little bit less risky, and will pay a little bit lower yield. But that's, I guess, what the people want. So I'm all in favor of it, I guess. I mean, I'm in favor of it.
Okay, because I know at least on maybe some of your recent videos, I believe you said that's one of your favorite funds, Ulti. Is that still one of your main investments?
Yeah, well, yeah, but yes, it is. And but it took me I didn't do great in it. I bought it last December when the market peaked, and I was underwater in it. But I was on drip, but still I was underwater until June or something. But the market blowing up this summer helped me out. And then I just don't like the market now. So on the last day of October, I sold a third of the Ulti position, not because I don't like it. I sold all of my GPTY position, and I love GPTY. And then I sold all of my GDXY position. It was more of and I keep some in cash. So, and I've reinvested some of that into a few other funds, but I have about 18% cash right now. I just don't like the way the market looks. I just don't.
Yeah, it has a little unpredictable lately, and it scares me when we have those big drops for funds like YieldMax, because again, you don't want these big increases in one day or even within that week, right? I know they do have the credit call spreads, but still, it's or Granite shares, the yield boost funds, right? There's only so much that they can go up on the big jumps.
Well, yeah, and what about? I don't know if you guys have seen ULTI, but that's the new Alti competitor from Rex, and they have a great plan and stuff. They just came out at the wrong time, and in like a week and a half, they bled off 25% of their not AUM, but 25% of their NAV. I mean, their price of their stock. So yeah, these are heavily dependent on which way the market goes. And these ones like Alt I and Alt Y and blocks, especially blocks, are highly correlated to the meme economy. And the meme economy just doesn't do well when Bitcoin's in a bear market. So yeah, it is scary seeing the drops, and it definitely is scary seeing the drops.
Yeah, especially anyone high in the crypto world right now. Crypto is just, it's been rough. Anything MSTR related, anything, again, Bitcoin's just it's not doing what we're used to, right? I know it's up a good deal over the past year, so it's hard to complain, but it's still like at this time of year you would expect a little more, maybe. But
yeah, well, the people that relate to the party that bought these funds, and there was a lot of them because the assets under management of ULTY, but not just that one, the whole sector blew up. It went up to like more than 3 billion. And so that means people were buying in June and July. Unfortunately, that was not, it was kind of like me. I bought last December after the election, Bitcoin and everything went crazy too. And I managed to pick the exact top pretty much. Like I say, I was underwater on ULTY for probably 6 months, but I didn't have anyone to blame but myself. But yeah, I feel bad. The people that relate to the party and didn't get there till this summer, I feel bad. It's not fun, and I get that.
Yeah, and same thing with the Misty buyers at 40. Like if God forbid, people that bought at $40 and sitting at $8, I think this morning.
Yeah, I mean, and I don't really follow Misty that much. I have a few shares, but I actually I bought Misty last December. Also got killed on that one. And I also bought XYZY. I don't know if it was called that at the time, but and all of them, AMDY, and all of them got killed. I bled off. I was just like ULTI. I bled off about 25 or 20% of my portfolio by April, investing in those names. And so I had to make a change. And so I started making changes to portfolio in March and April. And then I started doing better when I started actively managing it. But it sucks. It sucks.
Yeah. First question, is it better to roll an option on a red or green day? Obviously, it depends on the option, but let's just say a covered call, you're in the money. Maybe he's asking that if it's better to roll in a red or green
Well, with
day.
rolling, it's to me with rolling, it's on a red day you have higher. Sometimes you have higher IVs, so you might get more for the option the new option you're selling, but you're in more trouble on the option you're buying back because you know. So for those kinds of decisions, I go to stocktools.app. We have a mutual friend named Rob, and he's a developer. And he's made a really nice piece of software that has a rolling engine in it, and you can put in what position you're in, and it will go through there and show you, which ones what the advantages are of doing this one versus the other one. It's amazing. But on those types of decisions, I never know, and it looks so easy in hindsight, but trying to do it in real time. So usually I just believe in when the market's offered you a profit, take it. I mean, that doesn't really apply so much to rolling out, but I've had some miserable experiences rolling out. I rolled out of something twice in the late 90s and ended up trying to save the stock, ended up getting the stock called away, and it was the stock my grandfather had given me in Eli Lilly, and that it wasn't a lot then, but I mean it'd be multiple millions now because Eli Lilly's just turned into the greatest growth stock of the past 5 years. So, but anyway, you never know the right thing to do. I should have found a way to protect the position. But anyway, it's tough. But yeah, that one left kind of a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah. I hear you. What was they're asking, I guess, Rob's app.
Stocktools.app. And I have an affiliate code if you don't mind me mentioning it. But are you an affiliate yet, Rod? I thought you
No, I'm going to have him on soon. But yeah, no, feel free to share your affiliate link.
Actually, him and I have talked about it, and I think he's maybe on next week or he's sometime this month. But yeah, it's just stocktools.app /max. And I think you get a free month if you sign up through mine. Everyone gets 2 weeks though. You get 2 weeks without a credit card to evaluate it. But I think on my affiliate code, you have to put down a credit card, but then you get an extra month after that. So you have 6 weeks to check it out, and you need that much time. It does so many things. I use it a lot for the high yield ETF analysis. He's built something that's similar to my world famous buffer report, but it's a lot better. So I go to that all the time just to compare the high yield ETFs to each other. But it's a lot more than that. There's way more stuff than that. I get the idea, and he'll be on your show and tell you about it, but he's trying to recreate a lot of the tools that are in Tasty Trade or Option Strat and kind of put them in one place, or kind of make a tool for folks that don't have Tasty Trade maybe, or don't have Thinkorswim. So yeah, that's an amazing piece of software, and it'll take you 6 weeks to check it out. I'm still discovering stuff about it, and it's my affiliate code.
Yeah, I haven't, Rob, don't get offended, but I still haven't looked at it. But I plan to let him. I want to be surprised, like
absolutely.
When
I he'll show it.
He has options stuff in there, so now that makes it even more exciting.
Yeah, no, he's good at demoing it. That's the best way to do it. And I've had him on my station a couple of times, and he's showed us how. It's a very complex piece of software, and it's his baby. He knows everything about it. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. I'm sure that's not easy to put together. So outside of Rob's tool, I know I've seen you use like Option Strat, and I'm just, I'm curious when it comes to you and your options trades, are those your main tools? Are there any others that you use that could be helpful for the community to use?
Well, I mean, back in 2020, from 2017 through 2020, I had Thinkorswim, and that's the greatest tool ever made for option traders. And then I got Tasty Trade, and theirs isn't quite as it's not as good as Thinkorswim. I thought it would be as good because it was the same founders, but they made it for retail Gen Y traders, kind of whatever though. So, but then at that point, I started using it's still all right. But then at that point, I started using OptionStrat, and OptionStrat's is incredible. Mainly, I use it now for teaching. It's a good thing for showing, the theory of how it's going to work and how time decay works and that kind of stuff.
So you think because I use Thinkorswim too. I'm a huge fan. Do you think Thinkorswim is the best brokerage options platform?
Well, it's the best one I've ever seen, but I know other people like other ones and are having real good luck. And it's not only just I'm more the option nerd. I like the way the charts look and stuff, but I know some funds or some companies are more proactive to option traders. They, I've heard good stuff about other companies, and I know a lot of people don't like Tasty Trade, but I just talking more about the visual graphics. I don't do margin. But I know that, how your broker treats margin is super important to a lot of people also. So, and I think people are using other brokers because of that, is my understanding. I've heard IBKR is okay, but I've checked that their graphics are terrible. I'm more into the graphics.
Yeah. I know. And I noticed like it's live. Like I go to just a regular brokerage platform. It's not like live. I go to the Thinkorswim app on the phone. Actual changing every second. It's just so impressive.
In 2020, I had my phone in my hand and I was on Thinkorswim, just constantly. I mean, 2019, 2020, I love Thinkorswim. It's great. I've thought about getting it back. I probably should get it back. I don't know if they're the same after the Charles Schwab merger, but anyway, it's a great tool.
The Thinkorswim app is the same, but the brokerage, the platform side, like the regular website is not. It's not as good as TD. But Thinkorswim is the same. I could vouch for that.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. All right. So Parabolic, who you're obviously familiar with, has a question, a good question too. Do you want to get into how your buffer report works?
Yes, I do. Okay. So the buffer report is just a basic chart I made that shows you the daily change of the stock. So like say let's looking at Tesla. The line on the right of the bar graph will show you that Tesla's up 4%. And the line on the left, which is a different color, will show you Tesla's up 4%. Maybe Tesla's up 5%. Tesla's up 4%. So I'm trying to measure. Some of these funds are better at catching upside than other funds. It also depends on how active the manager is rolling. And then when they started introducing covered call spreads, occasionally the daily change of the high yield fund will be more so basically I'm just measuring the change of the daily of the high yield fund to its parent asset on a 1 day basis. Well, he's done the same thing in Stock Tools, but you can look at 1 day, 1 week, 1 month. He's an actual programmer. I just look at the daily change. It's also interesting because you can see which funds are protecting capital better. In a down day, Tesla might be down 5%, and maybe Tesla's only down 3%, and that's a victory. You're like, okay, well, they're doing a good job. But then other times you can see, like I remember last week, I think it was, or a few weeks ago, OARC was down 4%, whatever, and in the high yield fund, which is supposed to protect capital, was down more. So it's just a 1 day look at how the fund is tracking the parent or the reference asset.
So do you like, for example, Tesla, do you compare Tesla to all of the Tesla ETFs together to see who's doing the best?
Well, no, I'm not a good enough pro. You can do that on Rob's platform, but no, I'm not. I have two spreadsheets with 2 bar charts on them. One of them is about 40 funds, and mainly index-based ones like SPY-T, SPY-I, iSPY, Triple QI, and ones like that. And then I have another page that's just the YieldMax universe. So it shows you, how the YieldMax stocks are doing versus their parents. But no, I don't. Not really. I'm not sophisticated enough to do that. And really, and I don't really use it much anymore. Nowadays, I guess I show it on my show every day just because it's habit. But nowadays, I mainly go to Rob's site.
And real quick on your show, just so people know, I believe you go live morning, midday, and nighttime. Is that correct?
I go live about 10 Eastern, 10 to 10:30 Eastern when the market's been open, an hour or so. Then I go live. I don't do a midday show. I used to, but then I go live. Lately, I've been doing it at 5 o'clock Eastern, so an hour after the market closes at 4. Okay. I do it, and then also I haven't. That's just my normal show, and we look at that buffer report, talk about what the market's doing, and I've done that show for years. But then lately, I've developed a new show called the Daily Factor that does a different thing. And anyway, that comes on at night, usually at 7 or 8 o'clock at night, and usually I shoot that live, and that's been a really good show lately. But yeah, I have 3 live streams a day. 2 are just basic, and then I have my Daily Factor show that I'm trying to make a separate and distinct show.
So the Daily Factor sounds like the show for you, right? The 8 o'clock, the nighttime one.
Yeah, that's my premier. I'm trying to develop the Daily Factor. So the Daily Factor goes a step or 2 beyond the buffer report, or way beyond it. I started doing statistical analysis of all these funds, and I made my own metric, and it's a better metric than total return, in my opinion. Total return on these high yield funds can be deceiving. Anyway. So yeah, that's my premier media property right now. That's the one I'm really promoting. I'm going to have more stuff coming out on the Daily Factor. Someday it might go subscription even, or I might add a subscription tier, a newsletter. I have all kinds of ideas, but for right now, it's always going to be a show though. So for right now, it's just a show.
Okay. All right. No, I always try to tune in when I can, but I just want to make sure the community knows, because I know I go live a lot too. Unfortunately, YouTube doesn't treat the lives as special, right? So obviously, for people to know, make sure you check out the live, tab under Max's YouTube channel. If not, just attend live. I know you do address questions on each and every video too, which is good.
Well, the Daily Factor show starts out as the Daily Factor, but then after I'm done with that, we just go back and forth and talk. So all my shows are just basically talking about the market, and and looking at charts and all that kind of stuff, and answering questions. And people will ask me, hey, what do you think about the Alti split, or, whatever's the hot topic of the day. And we'll go back and forth and talk about it or debate it. I have people in my lives that aren't big YieldMax fans, and, so, but we have a good time though. We have a great time in my lives. Yeah, you're always there, and I appreciate it. One time before you joined my live stream, I didn't know you were going to do this, but you were on your X account and you said, I'm gonna go check out Max's live stream. Anyway, I had like 221 live people. I was getting comments so fast, and I thought I'd gone viral or something. But then as soon as I finish, I checked my Twitter feed and I see that you reposted the show, which I appreciate. But I was like, darn, I thought this thing was taking off. I mean, I thought I'd finally made it to the big time, had 200 people. But anyway.
You're probably giving me too much credit. No, you probably did kind of go viral, because I don't know if my tweets have that much power.
Well, I mean, I usually have 50 to 60, which is great. A year ago, I used to have 10 to 20. So yes, the station's doing better, but I'm a solid 50 to 60 now. And I've never had more. I've never had triple digits, let alone it was like 221, 226, and the comments were going. So it was incredible. Yeah, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. No, I was a little bit disappointed when I realized it wasn't organic. But you have a large following, people, and so I still appreciate it though. But yeah, I was hoping it was organic and people were there just because of me.
No, they were. They wouldn't click it if they weren't interested.
I know it.
Double D's heading to work. He says he mentions Jax. I know we haven't talked about Jax. You want to introduce Jax if he's there, or is he asleep?
Jackson, you want to come say hi? Come here. Who wants a treat? I don't even have a treat. This is so mean to do to him. Jackson, come here.
He might get mad at you then.
Oh, well, wait, I got some. Look what I got, Jackson. Come here. Come here. Get up here. Oh, come here. Hang on. Jackson, come here. Come here. Right here. Who wants a treat? Who wants a treat? Come here. Can you guys see him now? You can't see him. Anyway,
there he is.
Jackson, come here. Do you want a treat? Come here. Here's a treat. Come here. Well, he's being
shy. He's shy for the morning show. You know.
I know it. Anyway, yeah, he knows I don't really have a treat, so he's like messing with me. He's like, no, I'm not going to go up there. I see that you just got some dog food out, and I have dog food over my bowl, so no, I'm not going to jump over. Jackson, you want a treat? Well,
there he is.
There he is.
Hey, Jax.
He's like, that's the worst treat ever. That's just dog. That doesn't count as a treat.
There you go.
Anyway, yeah, Jackson, he's a good guy. Jackson and I went on a 4.5 mile jog 2 days in a row, or we walk and jog. But anyway, we've been killing it lately, getting in shape. Jax tends to get a little bit, sedentary and a little bit pudgy, and me too. So yeah, we've been on these pretty days. We go on this massive 4.5 mile walk, and it has 500 feet of elevation change in it in a very short time. It's like climbing a 50-story building, and I would say in the course of a mile. I checked it on Google Maps, but even when I've run in California, I've never encountered a hill like this one. And yeah, we've just been killing it lately.
Does he go without a leash?
Do what now?
Can he jog without a leash, or do you always have
he's well behaved, and but just for the sake of controlling him, I keep him on a leash. Jackson, I'm trying to. He's up here getting the dog food. I was trying to show him. Anyway, he's too dark. He's blending in, but you can see it's right here. He is. There you go, Jackson.
Nice.
He's when I'm close to my house, we walk out all the time without a leash, and he'll stay right next to me. But yeah, he's always on a leash when we go jogging. There was one time though, we were jogging home and we got to the end of my street, and I took his leash off, and I just ran home, and he followed behind me. I'll do it for a short period of time, but I'm afraid he'll see a squirrel and run out in front of a car or something. We have deers in my neighborhood also, and he likes to chase the deer. So, yeah.
That's good. Yeah, I know he always used to be on your thumbnails, the Max and Jax show, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Again on your thumbnail soon.
Well, I was just I used to have a show called Late Night with Max and Jax when I first started. I didn't know what else to call it. I was just bored and wanted to do a late night show, so I made myself look kind of like Conan O'Brien, or, like a talk show host. It ended up making me, but I said, and I just had AI make that picture. Yeah. But lately I've replaced that show with Jax. You got dropped for the Daily Factor. We got to pay the bills, and the Max and Jax late night show wasn't getting the viewership. That's when I used to get 8 to 10 viewers, and I appreciated it. But so once I started doing the Daily Factor and staying on point more, I'm up to 50 or 60. What also helped me more than anything was also going on X. I ended up getting StreamYard Premium. It doesn't look like you. Do you have StreamYard Premium?
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're on X right now too.
Okay. Oh yeah, that's of course you do, because you're always on. Yeah. But I didn't for a long time until about a month ago, and my station's or 2 months ago, and I've had the 2 best months I've had in a while. So yeah, influencing on X has really worked out well for me.
Yeah, it's I notice it's a much bigger following and turnout. Obviously YouTube pays better than X, and X, if you even get paid by X, but it just brings in more views, you can find more people, you can reach out to people easily. I know you and I have a Discord, so we communicate that way, but when you just have YouTube, a lot of people don't want to go on Discord. So X is just another way to communicate with them.
Absolutely. The fund managers have X, and the normal people have X. It's an industry type thing too. The fund manager, like Howard, may not be in my Discord. He's not in my Discord, but I can hit him up on X, or that's how I contacted Matthew Tuttle the first time. I didn't know him, didn't know anything about him, but I liked what he was doing with that fund BITK. Or he paid a 300% yield his first time, right? And I was like, what the heck? So I got him on it and ended up really liking him. He's coming out with a new fund that I'm doing a review on. It's called ONO, and it's a tail risk fund. So it in theory, it should make money when the market goes down, kind of like UVXY does. Supposedly it's going to be like UVXY, where it's going to have exposure to volatility on the long side. But unlike UVXY, supposedly it's not going to bleed. That video should be coming out today or tomorrow. And I know a lot of my people are interested in that. It's just a prospectus right now, but I'm going to evaluate the prospectus and the strategy.
Awesome. Speaking of total funds, I believe here's a question. You said you bought BitK. What do you think of MSTK and its zero DTE trade?
Well, with me, it's I buy stuff because of the strategy. So I'll read the prospectus and fall in love with something. And I got a fund called FEAT, FEAT, and ended up hating it. Sometimes the prospectus looks great and the fund, doesn't do what I expected. But so I bought BITK because of the prospectus. And MSTK does the same thing, so it's pertinent to talk about both of them. It's the same strategy that T-SPY does, and it's the same strategy that Roundhill does with their ODTE funds, and now YieldMax does it too with 3 of theirs. But it's where you just sell options in the morning and you cover by the end of the day, and that leaves you uncapped all night. Roundhill and T-SPY were the first ones that started doing that, but Matthew Tuttle's actually a sub-advisor, I believe, on Tap Alpha. I mean, I know he is. So he's, I don't know what the level of his involvement is, but he's listed as a sub-advisor for T-SPY. So he brought the T-SPY strategy to the Bitcoin world. Bitcoin does tend to make a lot of gains at night and on weekends. Maybe not in a bear market, but in a bull market, it does great on nights and on weekends. So I'm excited about it from that standpoint. MSTK should be the same thing. They're using flex options to just give themselves daily exposure, so you're uncapped at night. Like I say, that's good in a bull market, bad in a bear market. But
so it says zero DTE options. So what fund does he do zero DTE options? Because I didn't think MSTR or IBIT or anything offered,
Well, he uses flex options, and even on IBIT, there's no zero DTEs yet, but there's going to be. Hang on a second, Jackson. There's going to be zero DTEs soon. I think he's preparing for the future. But what he could do, he might sell an option that expires Friday. He might write that option in the morning, for $3, and then cover it, for $2.50 at the end of the day. So you can also break it off and just do a 5-day option, but either use a flex option, which retail can't do, but that's where you can customize an option. And you can make it anything you want. So he's doing that. He's kind of synthetically doing it right now. I expect that once IBIT does go daily, I think I heard IBIT's going Monday, Wednesday, Friday or something. So sometime soon. So, and at some point, I imagine everything will be daily. And the same with Mister. I bet the bigger funds like NVIDIA and Mister, I've heard that they're going to go daily or maybe Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Yeah. Okay. So for the most part, you said he just sells weekly and he could close it out that day.
Yeah.
Which, I guess
leaves it uncapped tonight. He does some combination of that, and also he does use flex options, and you can specify, I want to do a zero DTE, and a bank somewhere will sell you a flex option. It's like a swap, but they can turn it into a zero DTE. The other main reason people like Matthew do flex options is so they can't be early assigned. They make it where it's cash settled. Yeah. They do flex options, and YieldMax does this all the time in their synthetic, because they have to write a put, but they don't want to be early assigned. So they'll get a flex option on the SPY, but specify that it's European settled or cash settled and European exercise or whatever, which makes it more advantageous for the option seller.
Definitely. Okay. Good stuff there. SB, who obviously I think you're familiar with.
Yeah. Hey, SB.
He's asking about a trade him and I were in like on ELF, but let's just say you do like a synthetic on a fund and it drops substantially, 25% or so. Yeah. But you want to sell calls on that fund. So we're trying to do diagonals. So we're selling. I think I asked you about this on the live stream not that long ago that we were on together, the 3-hour one. Yeah. Selling a call within the week and then buying a call with a further, up strike.
Yeah. No, and SB and I talked about that too. SB came up with that. That's not one of my suggestions I gave him. SB is, as you know, is a serious option bro. And but yeah, he asked me about it. But I love the idea that there's another strategy you can do when you're underwater called it's called a stock repair. And basically you can sell a ratio spread on the upside too. But anyway, but that's what I always knew about. But then SB said, hey, what about this one? And he showed me what he had, and it made a lot of sense. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to me. I love diagonals. You could do what?
What's the one you did? Ratio spread?
Well, yeah, you could. It's called. You just Google it. It's too complex to talk about right here, but it's called a stock. It's called a stock repair strategy, and it's when you have a stock, and you're underwater big time in it. You can actually sell two options. Okay. So you're selling a ratio spread. So one option is for income, and two out of the money options, and the other option. Well, you just double down on it. It's not perfect. It creates some other problems, but it's a way to try to bail yourself out of something that you're holding the bag on. But yeah, but SB's the diagonal works also. What I was going to say is a diagonal spread is just I call that a crackhead covered call, because you're just selling an option on another option. So you have covered calls, then you have poor man's covered calls where you buy a leap and then you sell options on the leap. And that's less expensive. But then the crackhead covered call or whatever, the poor man or the really poor man's covered call, you can just sell an option on another option, and that's what a diagonal is basically. Yeah, and I love diagonals. I never thought about using it in the way that SB's using it, but yeah, it's a legit strategy.
So using the diagonal when you're underwater, would you do an at the money covered call? And then buy the call upwards, or would you do like a 2 delta on the covered call and then do the upwards?
If I was seriously going to do that, I'd call SB up and ask him, because he's looked at every in and out of that. I just, I don't know. I'd ask you and SB. I've never tried that to bail out a position I was underwater in. I'm not really even sure. Here's where I like to use a diagonal pre-earnings trade. You can, and I learned this from Tasty Trade, and Nikki Batts on Tasty Trade does diagonals all the time. And I use them to take a shot at direction. And, but you know, if you just buy a call before earnings, it's too expensive because the volatility is too high. But you can buy a call a month out, and then you can sell a call that expires this week. And so then after earnings, the call that expires this week will collapse and the volatility will collapse. And if you get the direction right, you still have to get the direction right. But if you get the direction right, that can be a good trade. And so that's the context that I have always used diagonals in. I've never done it like SB's doing it. He comes up with new stuff all the time. I mean, so SB's a really creative option trader.
Yeah, I'm gonna have him on in the morning. Him and another options trader.
That's awesome.
If you know M Cheese or not, if he's in your Discord, but
I don't believe
two of them are just. I learn from both of them all the time, and it's I'm just addicted now. I kind of converted my account to all options, so now that I slowed down my YieldMax coverage, I can do it.
No, I know that you're a lot more option centric now, but I have. It's not just SB. I have probably 5 or 10 guys in my Discord that either do poor man's covered calls or Tasty Trade type trades. They do earnings trades. I have 4 or 5 guys that are really good at options, and we have a great Discord. But yeah, SB's definitely one of those 4 or 5 guys.
So for anyone out there that's listening and they want to get involved with options, and they're wondering where to start, what would you tell them?
Tasty Trade. I mean, Tasty Trade is just such a great source of education. In the old days, I would have recommended a book by Larry McMillan. I forget the name of it. In the old days, you'd have to read a book, and there's some good books out there. But nowadays, it's so much easier to learn for a lot of people on video, because one thing, a book, you need a longer attention span. No one has a long attention span anymore. And, a 10-minute video from Tasty Trade, that's not the only thing you can use, but I think that's a good way to supplement. And then when you get more advanced, there's a guy named Shadow Trader, Peter Resnicek, And then there's option traders that go a level beyond tasty trade. But I would just say go to YouTube. How did you learn, RoD? Did you learn from YouTube or from the guys in your Discord, or did you read a book?
YouTube. I was always commuting 5 days a week, an hour one way, and that's how I learned about investing, and then dividends, and then options, caught my eye, and then I just had to trial and error, essentially lose a lot of money, learn through mistakes.
Do you take the train into town?
No,
or do you drive into town? I didn't know.
Drive.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
But I work from home a lot now, so I can't complain too much, but it is what it is. But yeah, thanks to the commute, so for anyone commuting out there, utilize it as an education time.
Yeah, I should have known you drove, because you used to always do that ride in with RoD or whatever. That was a good show. I like that. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. So how long doesn't it take you a while just to, do you have to cross under one of those tunnels? You're pretty, I bet you it takes a while. I bet you traffic is miserable.
No, I don't go to New York, thankfully.
Okay. So you go somewhere else. Okay.
Yeah, I stay in.
Okay, good.
New Jersey, so it's not too bad. It's not traffic. It's not the traffic you're thinking about. I would have quit.
You don't have to cross under. You aren't a bridge and tunnel person. You don't have to go under.
No tolls.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What was I going to say? So I know you started your channel because a lot of people were maybe explaining these funds in the wrong manner, just due to hate, maybe because of the high yield. It's a yield trap. What's the biggest misconception, do you think, about any of these funds that you see, like, people still making content about, and that's just it's not accurate? Is there anything that you still see?
As far as making content, I think there's a lot of great influencers out there. The influencers are doing a good job. The trolls on Twitter and stuff are, and on Reddit, but I don't really pay too much attention to them. But I would say the biggest misnomer in general, and like I say, no influencer that I know of is peddling this, but when people first get into these, they think that yield is return or profit. In other words, so they see something that yields 50%, and they go 50 plus 50 is 100. So this thing will be free money in 2 years. And 50 plus 50 is actually 75 when you're talking percent. But anyway, and then also there's the moving part of what does your underlying do? And I think that's a lot of people have an unpleasant surprise, because you're also playing the direction of the market. But that's not really, there's no way. The influencers that we know, or whatever, the influencers I watch are doing a great job explaining that part of it. But that's the house money concept. The house money, even if something pays 100%, it's not going to be house money in a year necessarily. Depends on what the underlying does. But I'd say more times than not, it's not going to be house money in 1 year. You may get in, it might be in a single stock like Palantir or Nvidia that just has that has a killer year or something. But that's the biggest misconception, is the house money concept.
Yeah. Okay. So do you invest in Bitcoin?
No. No, I've never had no, I don't. I have a wallet with some meme coins in it, some Doge and some, and another one I forget. But it's, several $100s. I don't, but I like to do it through these funds. I'm heavily invested in Bitcoin through Blocks. Blocks is as Bitcoin as it gets. And I have I have other funds too that have a lot of Bitcoin surrogates in there, like ULTY and WPay, and then I have BITK. But yeah, no, I like to do it. I understand how options work. I don't really understand Bitcoin enough. Plus, I'm sour on it because I didn't get it at a cheaper price. So I have my feelings hurt, and yeah.
Yeah. Okay. My follow up was going to be if you had a Bitcoin prediction, but I'm guessing you don't.
Well, I just think it's going to be ugly until we cross over the 200-day moving average. That's my prediction.
Okay. Yeah. So if anyone has any final questions, we could probably do one or two more. In the meantime, I'm going to pull up your YouTube channel so to tell people where they could find you.
I think it's the covered caller is how you find me on YouTube. at
Yeah,
the
I
covered
remember that.
caller. Then on Twitter, I'm Max Convexity Man.
Yeah, so
MAN.
if you guys wanted to find Max, he's at YouTube. He's at the covered caller. If you type in Max Convexity, it'll come up, or either or will come up. But like we said, he's hustling, man. He's doing 3 videos a day. He's running miles with Jax. He's keeping busy. So go give him a sub. Let's get him to 5,000 subscribers by end of month, and then we'll
Heck
shoot for
yeah.
6,000 end of year. What do you think?
Well, I was just trying to get to 5,000 by the end of the year, but then lately the channel's
you'll
been
hit
doing
that.
well, and it looks like I'm going to be there pretty quick. So, yeah, so no, that'd be great. We'll try for 6,000 by the end of the year. That sounds like a plan.
Yeah, and then of course he's on X at the covered caller. So go give him a follow there as well. I know you're kind of recently on there, but you do join some spaces with Ambassador and a couple others. So
that Wolf financial space is incredible. I can't believe I didn't know that was going on. I should have been there every week for the past however long they've been doing it. That's an incredible space on the high yield funds. Yeah, and I've really been enjoying the content on X and Ambassador Quan. In fact, Ambassador called me last night in case he's listening. I didn't see it until I fell asleep. But anyway, I'll call you back today, Ambassador. Ambassador's going to watch his show.
Yeah, sometimes he gets up, sometimes he doesn't. Today you'll have to yell at him. He didn't get up, I guess. So we'll have to talk to him about that.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I also pulled this up because I know again you use it a lot, option strat. But it looks like you kind of have to start a trial. So do you do the paid version for options?
I have before. Yeah. And I even have an affiliate code, but I don't even remember what it is. Go to stocktools.app. You don't have to type in Max, but if you want to, just to pull that up, stocktools.app. And if you sign up, well, you're gonna have your own affiliate code. So anyway, I'm not trying to sell this. I'm just trying to show what a cool tool
is. Max?
App, stocktools.app
/Max.
Well, yeah, /Max. But it'll take you, but then it's going to try to sell you something. So I was just going to show you Stock Tools by itself.
Okay.
Just go to Stock Tools.
Yeah. If I take that out, it'll take me to the web. Okay.
Yeah. And then, maybe even then you probably have to put in your email or whatever. Anyway, it's really cool.
Yeah.
It's really cool. It's incredible.
Yeah.
The level of integration he has in there and the level of detail. I mean, Rob is an amazing coder. You'll find out. I'm going to get up and listen to the show with you and Rob on. Here's somebody just texted me. It's probably Ambassador. No, anyway, it's probably somebody that's watching this show. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So obviously in respect to time, I think, we have about a minute left. I didn't see any final questions, but thank you for joining us, Max, today. To everyone here, as always, this is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. Max is not a financial advisor. We are here for fun and entertainment. So hopefully you had fun. Hopefully you're entertained. At the end of each video, Max, I'm not sure if you ever make it to the end of my videos, but we always do a keyword, right? And then the keyword is something that people have to type in to prove that they made it, right, with us to the end. So I'm not sure. I usually let the guest give the keyword. I don't know if you have one in mind or.
Just type in Jax, Jax, since he kind of made an appearance for a second or two. I don't know. I think that'd be a good one.
I like it. I like it.
Right.
So out to the community here on X or on YouTube. If you made it this far in the video and you want to prove it, you got to type in Jax, Jax. Max and Jax, I appreciate you guys joining this morning. I know it's early, so it's a little unusual schedule for you. You may be tired later on. So you can blame me if you're tired on the 8 o'clock video.
It's all good. I appreciate you having me on. Thank you for asking. I really appreciate it.
No, of course. And I heard you, what did you say last night? You didn't make the top. You definitely made the top 20. In fact, I invited, I think in that chat, you guys were the first to be on the invite. It was just a matter of who answered and then the schedule. And
you asked if we were interested, and I said yes in the chat timeline. But other people emailed you, and you took. I mean, anyway, I was just joking because Coach also didn't make it. And,
you
and
were
I
at
said,
the top of the
we
list.
didn't make the top 20, Coach. I was just joking.
No, so we'll obviously probably talk to you later on one of the lives. Appreciate you, and hopefully again there's another closing bell ceremony with someone, maybe YieldMax, and we could all meet up again. If you want to hang on, we will end the stream here. Just want to say to the community, thank you for watching live. Thank you for watching after the fact. Please go check out Max's YouTube channel. He is a book of knowledge when it comes to options, not like all these other YouTubers out there yip yapping, you know. Even me. Max is the real deal. You know, he's been there, done that, and he's the options bro, you know, the options bro. So go check out his channel. But yeah, thank you all for joining. Thank you, Max. Thank you, Jax. And we will end it here. Later.